Well, one of the things that I found incredibly extraordinary reading this script is that, you're obviously dealing with a very specific time in British history, but at the same time, and I'm also a big believer in the idea that the specific is the universal, in the sense that, the more specific a story is, somehow the more it resonates with everybody. What I was struck by was how these conversations around mental health and around race, they reflect what's going on today much more than you would expect them to. You'd hope that they would.
Yeah.
And I wonder
if you feel like we would have gone a long way.
Yeah, I think we should have. We should have made more progress, and also it feels like perhaps we're sliding in certain areas. I wonder for each of you what the experience was of picking up this script. And Michael, why don't you kick us off? What you made of it, the themes that Sam was dealing with.
I don't know. No, I'm joking. It was great. I mean, when I first read it, I was like, this is definitely something that I want to do. Whether Sam was kind of doing it or not, it was a story that I've never seen a black man written in that kind of narrative before, with a lot of hope, a lot of promise, and studying architecture and wanting to work in a cinema and all of those things. I never seen that, and I've actually never met a person like that. You get what I'm trying to say? So I've always wanted to play a character that's kind of away from me, but can still carry the same sort of values, like positivity and wanting to help people, which he wants to do with Hillary. When she starts deteriorating, he doesn't walk away from it. He wants to lean in and wants to help. So I felt that was really, really amazing about the script. I had to look at it in an isolated way at first, and when you look at the whole story, and the love of cinema and mental health and stuff like that, I haven't actually met anyone with mental health either. So, I really wanted to tell a story that I know can help so much more people. I know a lot of people are struggling with that now, especially because, of social media, people talk about it a lot more. So I can only imagine what it was like back then. And working with my acting coach, Gary Nurse, he's met people like that, and we can actually talk about his experiences and understand that conversation, from like.
Also, Gary grew up in that period.
Yeah, in that period. So everything was kind of like, we was able to have someone that was really accessible to kind of speak about everything in detail, of his experience, and also it was very similar to him having someone, when he sees Hillary for the first time after she's highly medicated. I was just like, why is this woman that he's had sex with like not moving like she knows him? You get what I'm trying to say? I don't understand that, because I've never met that before. But Gary's like, no, you don't even care about that at that point. You just want to make sure they're okay, which is what, so it's testimony to how well Sam has written the script. And it's just, just working with amazing people is something that always excites me. Like Sam and Roger, I've watched loads of Roger's films, and I love 1917, so that pairing for me was exciting. And I'd seen Olivia's, a lot of Olivia's filmography, and I'm just excited to work with amazing people. And even people that I weren't aware of their work, like Toby. For me, they were just so exciting, and I just learned so much. Basically, I just learned so much, and it was a great experience, and I would do it all again.
Olivia, what about for you? I mean, first of all, it was extraordinary to me, and I mean, I know this logically now, but you'd never worked together before.
I know.
I don't think. Yeah. So Sam Mendes is coming to you. He's bringing this. Sorry, I'm going to embarrass him because he's sat right there. He's bringing this incredibly personal script, and you are essentially playing a version of his mum, really.
Yeah.
What kind of went through your mind reading this script?
Well, the Zoom, oh yes, well I didn't know the script before when we first met on Zoom.
Well, start me there.
And I went, was in the kitchen, so Sam Mendes is, hello, and then we just chatted, and he said, I'm thinking of writing this film, I wonder if you'd be interested. Yes! And so the script came along quite a bit later, and they went, oh, I always want to swear, terrible swear, I'm so sorry, but this is things I haven't played before. I don't know this thing, which is to me interesting and exciting to play something that's a little bit scary and difficult. And but what was beautiful throughout the process is that I had the greatest font of knowledge, someone who had seen it, who would be watching me in the same way that he had watched someone become powerful, become incredible, and then sort of start to disintegrate. So Sam would go, no, it was I remember at that point it was the lithium did this, and you could tell me everything. So I had Sam holding my hands all the way through it, and at any point, okay, why would she do that? Why would she? And you could explain it because you had watched every second of it through your childhood, and so I couldn't have had a better person.
Well, thank you.
It's all right.
The funny thing is that what it trained me to do as a child, of course, is watch somebody like a hawk. It was just me and her. So and the tiniest inflection or a new scent or a new way of putting makeup on, or these could mean big things in my life. This could mean that I would leave school, or I would go and live with my dad, or I would so you're watching everything. And so then to go back into that world and to be again watching somebody for all those little signs, and to be this time helping tell a story through those things was really, it was moving and strange at times. We had a whole thing about how much eye makeup. The eye makeup told its own story. As there's less and less sleep, there's more and more makeup covering up the lack of sleep. And that whole process, that journey down into the dark, and also the nature of denial. That someone can be fighting tooth and nail to not be taken into hospital, not be taken into a mental facility, and at the same time have her bag packed and ready because she knows she needs help. And those two things, to not want to go and to know you have to go, can coexist, is a really difficult thing to explain. And yet I think Olivia's instinct is so extraordinary, and she's such a sponge. She doesn't really want to talk about it. She didn't really dialogue about it. She wants to know everything. She doesn't really want to rehearse because she wants to save it all up for the day. And she has that unerring thing that I've experienced a few times, only a few, but Judi Dench is one of them, where she makes other people, she's so present, off camera as much as on, exactly the same, that she will take other people with her. She'll make people act better because there's no 90%. It's just we're real. And so for Michael to see that and be carried, but to his great credit, he stood toe to toe to her.
God, yeah,
and never ever exactly. I felt like there was and Michael's energy, which again, apologies, you're sitting there, but there's such open-heartedness and such warmth and such just openness, willingness to learn, and it's so accessible and so eager and so on the front foot. No cynicism in either of them, just me.
Well, and I have to ask about that before my time is up, which is this extraordinary, there is a sparkle in the eyes between these two characters when they first meet that manifests in this incredibly optimistic, wonderful feeling in the film that I think comes from both of you, and this incredible material, of course, but both of you, manifesting this on set and getting to know one another so well on set as well. It was the experience that I took from it. And I have to ask what that experience was like for each of you of working together.
But it was, we've said this a few times this morning, but I feel like we're similar people in that we're happy people, we love our job, and there was a sort of, I can see a kindred spirit. And joking and enjoying and just wanting to...
just having fun.
Yeah.
And just creating, Sam's very good at this, creating an environment for us to just have fun, but also just, take it seriously. Like, at the end of the day, we're there to tell a story, but if the environment isn't set right, we can't do that in an authentic way. And everything that I do is based off of truth. Sometimes I'm asking Olivia, like, why are we walking here? Like, Sam's not telling us why we're walking here. And she's like, I don't know, because there's a mark. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it's just like, nah, I can't do it. So I have to go to Sam. But, you don't feel intimidated by that. And I don't feel weird to ask Olivia those questions. You get what I mean? It's just like, an environment's created where I don't feel like an idiot to ask questions,
But
and
also,
that allows
you
to
only
learn more.
you only said something when there was a genuine problem. You didn't constantly say something.
Yeah.
So when you do actually say, I don't understand this, you had a good reason. So I never felt like, oh, here comes Michael with a question, which sometimes one does feel. But also, you look very hard always for people who take the work seriously but don't take themselves that seriously. And there's a big distinction between the two. And I think that when Olivia talks about having a kindred spirit, I think, I never felt anyone was taking the work anything less than 100% seriously, but nobody took themselves seriously at all.
That is the best way to put it.
That's a nice combination, and I was lucky.